Aquarius, tell me honestly, have you ever felt that quiet shift in the air the moment you enter a room? It's like something invisible moves. The laughter softens, the glances turn sharp, and the energy feels heavier than before. You notice it, don't you? That subtle change in tone, that sudden silence that greets your presence. It's not in your head. You've been feeling the spiritual tension of being different. You don't blend in. You stand out, even when you're not trying to. And deep down, you've wondered, why does my own family sometimes feel uneasy around me? Aquarius, it's not because you're difficult. It's not because you've done something wrong. It's because your light, the purity of your soul, your truth, your quiet strength, awakens what others have tried to keep asleep. When you walk in with calm energy, it confronts their chaos. When you speak with honesty, it exposes their lies. And when you live in peace, it reminds them of the storms they still carry inside. Type this in the comments right now. My light is not the problem. Let that be your declaration tonight. Because the truth is, your light was never meant to fit small rooms or small hearts. Some of your family can't stand you, not because you're unlovable, but because your spirit unsettles the comfort of their denial. You bring awareness where others prefer blindness. You bring healing energy into spaces where pain has made a home. Understand this. Your soul is not at war with them. Their resistance is not personal, it's spiritual. You are light walking among shadows that aren't ready to see themselves clearly. And when light walks into darkness, darkness trembles. It reacts, not because it hates you, but because it fears what you reveal. Aquarius, your presence is sacred. You were never designed to be ordinary. You were born to disturb what is false and awaken what is real. That's why some of your family can't fully embrace you. They sense your truth before you speak it. They see your growth and feel it as a threat instead of an inspiration. But don't let their discomfort make you shrink. Don't dim to fit their comfort zones. The rejection you feel from them isn't punishment. It's divine direction. It's the universe's way of telling you, you were not meant to belong where your spirit cannot breathe. Stay until the end of this message, Aquarius, because when this truth fully settles into your heart, you'll stop asking, why don't they like me? And you'll start saying, thank you, universe, for protecting me from the places that cannot hold my light. From a young age, Aquarius, there was always something about you that drew attention, even when you weren't trying to. You didn't fit the mold your family expected. You questioned things others accepted. You were curious about life, about truth, about purpose. You felt emotions deeply, but you also carried an invisible shield, a kind of quiet strength that others couldn't understand. You spoke truths others were afraid to speak. You noticed things no one wanted to admit. You could sense when something was wrong, even when everyone pretended it was fine. That sensitivity wasn't weakness, it was your gift. But not everyone in your family saw it that way. Some of them began to feel uncomfortable around you without knowing why. Your presence revealed parts of themselves they didn't want to face. Your kindness reminded them of how bitter they had become. Your confidence made them aware of their own insecurities. They won't tell you this, but deep down, some of them envy how free you are. They envy your ability to move forward after pain, to rebuild after loss, to speak from the heart without fear. You carry a kind of peace that can't be faked, and that peace makes them restless. They see you happy, and instead of being inspired, they feel exposed. Because your light doesn't just shine, it reveals. It shows who is genuinely loving and who is pretending. It shows who is secure and who is threatened. When you start healing, they start resenting. When you begin focusing on your growth, they interpret it as distance. When you choose silence over argument, they call you cold. And when you finally find joy after years of hardship, they question why it's you and not them. But Aquarius, understand this clearly. They've mistaken your self-awareness for arrogance, your independence for rebellion, and your boundaries for rejection. They call it attitude, when in truth, it's alignment. The same people who once said they wanted the best for you may find themselves uneasy when you finally achieve it. Because your glow reminds them of their shadows. Your courage to be yourself threatens those who rely on control, tradition, or hierarchy. And yet, Spirit wants you to remember this truth. They cannot hate your light without first recognizing it. And that recognition is not an insult, it's an awakening. Even when it comes wrapped in envy, it's still awareness. They see in you something they once had or something they secretly desire. Freedom, peace, authenticity. You're not the enemy, Aquarius. You're the mirror. And mirrors don't create what they reflect, they only show it. So the next time you feel that uneasy silence when you enter the room, don't shrink. That silence is not rejection. It's revelation. They're not looking at you with dislike. They're looking at the parts of themselves that have gone dim. And sometimes when people haven't seen light in a long time, it burns their eyes before it warms their hearts. You were never meant to dim for them. You were meant to illuminate what they've forgotten. Their jealousy, their discomfort, it's proof that your light is working. You're awakening something in them, even if it starts as envy. Aquarius. Many of you were born into families where love wasn't soft, it was conditional. Where being different felt like betrayal. Where silence was the only way to keep peace, even when your heart screamed for truth. From childhood, you may have sensed that something in your family's energy didn't flow right. You felt heavy emotions that weren't even yours. You carried responsibilities you never asked for. And sometimes, you were blamed for things you didn't cause, simply because your presence carried a different vibration. That's what it means to be the one chosen to break the pattern. You came into a bloodline that needed healing, a family that learned to survive through suppression, denial, and pride. They passed down habits like secrets, anger disguised as protection, control disguised as love, silence disguised as peace. And you, Aquarius, were sent to be the one who sees through it all. Every time you stood up for yourself, you broke a generational chain. Every time you spoke the truth when others stayed quiet, you changed the direction of your lineage. Every time you forgave instead of retaliating, you ended a pattern of pain that had lived for decades. It's not easy being the first to awaken. It's lonely, it's exhausting, and it's misunderstood. You might not know it, but the loneliness you felt in your family was not punishment, it was purification. Every sigh, every tear, every night you felt unseen was your soul pushing out the energy of generations that didn't know freedom. Every time you chose peace over drama, your spirit whispered, "It ends with me." Aquarius, you were not sent to repeat what your ancestors did. You were sent to rewrite it. You were sent to teach your bloodline that love doesn't need control. That truth doesn't need to be silenced. That strength can exist with softness. That's why your energy feels heavy to some of them. Because your very existence challenges the old karmic codes they live by. You remind them of everything they've buried: jealousy, regret, fear, guilt. You don't do it intentionally. It just happens. Your light brings awareness, and awareness brings discomfort. They can't explain why they feel uneasy around you, but their spirit knows. You carry divine energy that doesn't blend, it transforms. And transformation can be terrifying for those who've built comfort around pain. You don't just talk differently, you vibrate differently. Your thoughts, your aura, your silence, it all feels unfamiliar to them, and that unfamiliarity feels threatening. But hear this clearly, Aquarius. The discomfort others feel in your presence is not your burden to carry. It's a sign that your light is working. It's a sign that your soul is doing exactly what it came here to do, unraveling what no one before you dared to face. You are the bridge between what was and what will be. You are the future standing face to face with the past. And yes, that confrontation is always unsettling, but it's also sacred. Because when you heal, the whole lineage heals through you. And one day, even the ones who can't stand your light will unknowingly walk in the freedom your soul created. Aquarius. There comes a moment when someone you once laughed with begins to look at you differently. Their eyes still hold a smile, but behind it, there's comparison. They start noticing your progress like it's a scoreboard instead of a blessing. They begin to count your steps instead of celebrating your stride. It's painful when love quietly turns into rivalry. When those who once prayed for you now question why you're the one being favored. They may never say it out loud, but you feel it. The uneasiness in their tone, the faint distance when you succeed, the subtle shift from closeness to coldness. They start saying things like, "You've changed," or "You think you're better." But Aquarius, what they really mean is, you've grown. You've outgrown the emotional patterns they still live by. You've healed parts of yourself they still run from. You've become comfortable with the truth they're still avoiding. You see, your growth highlights their stagnation. Your peace exposes their inner storms. Your confidence makes their self-doubt louder. And instead of working on their own healing, they project that discomfort onto you. It's a strange thing, isn't it? When your joy irritates the people you love most. When your healing feels like betrayal, because for years they benefited from your brokenness. They liked you better when you needed them. They felt stronger when you were unsure. They felt wiser when you stayed silent. But the moment you started standing tall, they began to feel small. Aquarius, you must remember this. You are not responsible for anyone else's comfort. You were not created to dim your soul so that others feel secure in their shadows. If your light disturbs their demons, let it. If your peace irritates their pain, so be it. You cannot keep folding yourself to fit inside the boxes that your spirit has already outgrown. You've spent years paying your dues in silence, swallowing pain just to be accepted, pretending to be less so no one would feel threatened. But the time for shrinking is over. You've played small long enough, Aquarius. You've done the work, faced the loneliness, rebuilt your heart. Now your confidence is not arrogance, it's survival. Your boundaries are not pride, they're protection. And here's the truth no one ever told you. Your acceptance was never supposed to come from them. It was meant to come from within you. Because when your worth comes from self-love, no amount of silent competition can shake your peace. When your validation comes from the divine, no comparison can wound your spirit. So let them misunderstand you. Let them whisper. Let them compete for an illusion you've already transcended. Because your journey is not about proving you're better, it's about proving you're free. Aquarius, have you noticed how, no matter how hard you try, you often feel like the odd one in your family? You sit among them, you smile, you share the same blood. But still, there's a quiet space between you and them that words can't fill. You question things they accept, you sense truths they deny. You refuse to gossip or follow old patterns that keep others stuck. And for that, you're seen as distant, as different, as too much. But here's the truth. Your soul carries the signature of a reformer. You were not born into your family to fit in. You were placed there to awaken it. Your purpose was never to blend into their old energy, but to shift it, to bring awareness, to stir what has been asleep for generations. That's why you feel like the outsider, Aquarius. Because you're not meant to follow where they go. You're meant to lead where they fear to walk. You carry divine sight. You see the hidden pain behind their smiles, the unspoken tension behind their jokes, the masks they wear to survive. You sense when something isn't right, even when everyone insists it's fine. And while they label you as sensitive or rebellious, the truth is, you simply see too deeply. Your spirit was designed to notice what others overlook, to question what others obey, to challenge what no one else dares to confront. That's why your presence can make them uncomfortable. Because your energy doesn't play along with illusions. Your very existence whispers, "Let's heal," while theirs often says, "Let's hide." You are the torchbearer in a house that prefers candlelight. And the brighter you shine, the harder it is for them to keep pretending. But understand this, darkness doesn't hate light, it fears exposure. When you walk into a room with authenticity, you remind others of their masks. When you speak truth softly, it echoes louder than their excuses. And when you choose peace instead of gossip, you reveal how restless their spirits really are. You are not being rejected, Aquarius. You are being recognized. They sense something divine in you, even if they don't understand it. You were sent not to shame them, but to show them another way. Your life is a message that says it's safe to evolve. So when they call you strange, remember, it's because your vibration doesn't match the old patterns they still live in. You are tuned to higher truth, and they're still adjusting to the frequency of honesty. You may not belong in their comfort zones, but you belong to something greater, the spiritual shift your family needed but never expected. Being the outsider isn't a curse, it's confirmation that you were never meant to be ordinary. You are the awakening in your bloodline. You are the voice that breaks silence, the light that reveals what has long been hidden. And though they may resist you now, one day they'll understand you were never against them, you were just ahead of them. Aquarius, when love turns into silence, when the people you once trusted begin to turn away without reason, it shakes something deep inside of you. You start to wonder, what did I do? You look for clues in old conversations, in their tone, in their glances. You replay moments in your mind, trying to find the mistake that made them change. But here's the truth, Aquarius. Sometimes the change wasn't born from your actions. It was born from your elevation. You have outgrown what no longer feeds your soul, and the vibration of your spirit has shifted. That shift doesn't always come with applause. It often comes with separation. Because when light expands, it naturally exposes what cannot grow beside it. And sometimes that includes family. It's one of the hardest lessons for your heart to learn. That love doesn't always mean alignment. You can love someone deeply, but still not be able to journey with them. You can forgive them fully, but still need to step away to protect your peace. It doesn't make you cold, it makes you wise. When family love turns into silent rejection, it's easy to question your worth. You might lie awake at night, thinking about what you could have done differently, how you could have spoken softer, tried harder, loved louder. But Aquarius, hear this truth in your spirit. You did enough. Your light, your truth, and your peace were never the problem. Sometimes, God separates you from certain people, not because He's cruel, but because He's clearing the path for your rebirth. Think about it. You can't grow roots in soil that resents your rain. You can't blossom in gardens that compete with your beauty. And you can't find harmony among hearts that feed on comparison instead of compassion. You were never meant to bloom in the same place you were broken. And when they start to distance themselves, don't chase after them. Don't try to fix what was never meant to stay, because every step back they take is a step forward in your destiny. Aquarius, silence is not punishment, it's preparation. When they gossip, stay silent. When they misunderstand you, stay still. Because silence is the weapon of the wise, and your stillness is what confuses the ones who try to provoke chaos. You see, your peace is loud enough. It doesn't shout, it doesn't argue, it simply glows. And that glow, that quiet radiance, will do what words never could. It will become your sermon, your message, your proof. Your peace will be your loudest testimony. Your glow-up will be your closure. And your authenticity will be the justice they never saw coming. There will come a time when the very people who underestimated you will have to watch you rise without their help. They will see the same light they once rejected guiding you into abundance, clarity, and joy. And that, Aquarius, is divine balance. You don't need revenge. You don't need to prove anything. Your healing is the loudest statement you'll ever make. Remember this. Every rejection you've experienced was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to redirect you. It was the universe's way of moving you out of the places where your light was suffocating. Every tear you've cried because of family pain was watering the ground for your rebirth. Every heartbreak became fertilizer for the life you're now growing. The family that turned away showed you the strength of standing alone. The silence they gave you taught you how to hear your own voice. And the absence of their support pushed you to build a foundation that no one else could shake. So when you think of them, don't hold anger, hold gratitude, because their rejection pushed you into the arms of purpose. Their distance forced you to find your inner compass. And their disbelief became the very pressure that shaped your diamond soul. Rejection is not the end, it's the beginning of your revelation. You were never meant to belong to everyone, Aquarius. You were meant to belong to destiny. And sometimes destiny requires separation before elevation. One day you will look back at the pain and realize that it wasn't the end of your story, it was the turning point. Because every ending that was forced upon you was, in truth, the hand of the divine saying, "This chapter is complete, turn the page." So lift your head high, Aquarius. You're not being abandoned, you're being positioned. You're not being rejected, you're being redirected into alignment. And your rebirth is already happening. You may not see it yet, but something new is being written for you. Your spirit is freer. Your energy is cleaner. Your path is clearer. This is what happens when God removes what cannot walk with you. And soon, the same ones who couldn't stand your light will have to watch you shine in it. Not out of spite, but as proof that what was meant to break you became the reason you were rebuilt stronger than ever. Aquarius, your story isn't ending here. It's only just beginning. You were never meant to be buried by rejection. You were meant to rise through it, radiant, whole, and unstoppable. Aquarius, listen closely. There will always be people, even in your own family, who will misunderstand your peace, your strength, and your light. They will call it pride when it's really confidence. They will call it rebellion when it's really freedom. But you were never created to live small, just to make others comfortable. You don't owe anyone a smaller version of yourself. You don't need to shrink your truth to fit into their silence. Your light isn't arrogance, it's evidence of divine favor. You've been chosen, protected, and guided for a reason. And that reason doesn't require the approval of those who refuse to understand your path. Some of your family may never apologize for the pain they caused. They may never admit the jealousy they carried or the words they spoke that wounded your spirit. They may never recognize the way they tried to dim your shine, not because they hated you, but because they couldn't see beyond their own shadows. But still, Aquarius, you will rise. Because you are not defined by their silence. You are defined by your spirit. You are defined by how you kept loving when love wasn't returned. You are defined by how you kept forgiving when understanding was never offered. And you are defined by how you kept walking forward, even when no one walked beside you. So say it one more time in the comments right now. My light is not the problem. Let the universe hear it. Let your ancestors hear it. Because every time you declare it, another chain in your lineage breaks. Another cycle ends. Another doorway opens. You were never the curse in your family. You were the cure. You were the healing energy that entered generations of silence and said no more. You were sent to remind your bloodline that peace is possible, that truth is power, and that light cannot be destroyed. It only transforms. So keep shining, even when it makes them uncomfortable. Speak truth softly, but never silence your soul. Love loudly, but never lower your vibration to be accepted. Walk in your purpose with quiet grace. And never again apologize for existing brightly in a world that benefits from your glow. The ones who can't stand your light were never meant to walk in it. Their discomfort is only proof that your frequency is rising. And as you continue to grow, you will find new souls who recognize you, who celebrate you, who match your energy instead of resisting it. Stay luminous, Aquarius. Your journey is not over, it's only beginning. And if this message reached your soul, if you felt it resonate deep within you, make sure to subscribe, because your divine story, your rise, your healing, your breakthrough is only just beginning.